We are going to talk to you today about real estate.
We are going to talk about real estate.
Yep, we talk about. This is going to be an interesting one.
This is going to be this one. I'm like excited about this one in a different way.
I just don't want to be all negative.
Okay, I'll help you with that.
Thank you, because I'm like
actually
because we've had lots of conversations.
I'm glad that you said that because today let's just tell them what we're going to talk about, and then we'll say why we're worried about being negative.
As
you drink some more of your coffee, I would like some of that.
From On Point.
On Point Land Survey. That is my favorite Yeti mug.
Yes.
It's my On Point mug.
It's really nice. I have another one I need to bring up here. It's more of a water drinking thing, though. It's not a...
You have another On Point one?
No, I have a white one.
I got upset thinking that you were telling me. I got a really cool one from High Plains Technology Center. Like a little water bottle. It's clear and it has this pretty little wood-looking lid. I mean, it's real cute. And then I thought, I'm not really great about pouring water into a bottle. Yeah. Anyway, I waste a lot of water bottles is what I do. Okay. So High Plains Technology Center. I name dropped them earlier in the last episode, and I wanted to talk about them today. Today, we're going to talk about being a real estate agent, how to become one, pros and cons. But we have been really fortunate, and I don't know how this happened. It was just really awesome and fun. But we have got to do 3 or 4 different things recently with the High Plains Technology Center between them and their TAP program.
Right. It's cool.
I love High Plains Tech Center because I love the opportunity for students today to get to sit back, relax, and pay attention. Like that sounds like an oxymoron, but they don't. Back in our day, we were college. And I've shared this story a million times, and I hope my mom's okay with me sharing this because I love her dearly, and this will turn around, so don't be thinking negative, my mom. I remember sitting in the drive-thru of a bank, and I said, Mom, I want to go to beauty school, which is really funny because I never fixed my hair and I didn't wear makeup, but that was what I wanted to do. I really did. I thought maybe that'll teach me how to do these fun things. And she said, absolutely not. That's not college. You're going to college. Okay. Well, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. No idea. And to boot, I was graduating a year early, so I was 17 years old. Years later, once I have my college degree that I didn't use for a long, long time, and I spent a lot of time with some teenagers doing hair and makeup. And my mom came in one day when I was doing my sister's or something. I don't recall exactly the situation. She goes, I wish I'd have just sent you to beauty school. And I just laughed because I thought, I know, me too. But I see pros and cons to everything. I learned a lot with my education. I really, truly did. But I feel like the way that the High Plains Technology Center is today versus how VOTech was, I put that in quotes for people that are on YouTube, because back in the day, I don't feel like the VOTech was able to reach as many students as High Plains Technology Center is today. I think we're able to see now the value of different career types outside of the realm of a college education.
Yes, absolutely.
And I love it.
Yes.
Real estate fits that.
Yep.
Real estate 100% fits that.
Ashlyn is a perfect candidate as well.
She
went to college 4 years, got a degree. Wouldn't say regrets it exactly.
Sure.
But she went back, and now she's going to a tech school to learn a different trade.
My daughter, 4-year, she actually has her master's degree. She's not doing a darn thing with it yet. I'm going to say yet. Our girls both are young enough that we have no idea what's going to happen next. And I believe that my daughter's education was very valuable for her. I think she also would have benefited from some of the services, from some of the classes at the technology center. My son did technology center. I just really, really love what they offer. And so that being said, real estate as a career is something, I'm not saying they have this program right now, but at different times over the last 15, 20 years, I've seen different times when they've had real estate courses taught at the VOTech.
That's where I took mine.
Is it?
Yep.
I didn't know that. I went down to Oklahoma City, me and my mom on the weekends.
Remember the lady I went to, she said, I went to school with Brian.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was so cute.
She was only like 80.
I didn't know how to respond when she said she went to school with you. She presented like she went to high school with you.
Yeah,
it was really
fun.
cute. Okay, anyway. So all that to say, and we've been fortunate to get to play these games. I call them games because I've had so much fun hanging out with High Plains Tech Center. But all that leads into being a real estate agent, associate, I don't know, a realtor,
Yes.
a realtor. That's for Richard.
Realtor.
I heard a little clip from a realtor the other day, and she said, Hey, lenders, you want to know what realtors need? And I thought, oh no, vocabulary lessons. Okay, moving on. Here we are. Let's start with how hard is it? This was a question I got this week, and this is why we're doing this. We've had a lot of people recently come up and talk to us about. I've had so many. I don't know how to say all these questions, and that's what I want to run through though. How hard is it to become a real estate agent? This was my favorite question, the one I'm about to say. I had a girl walk into the office and she said, I want to talk to Brian. I want to talk to him about him. I want to talk to him about becoming a real estate agent. But what I really want to know is our current market already too saturated with agents? What a fantastic question. That's the right question. We have a lot of them ask about what it looks like. What does it pay? How do we get to this position? And so I want to just kind of go through that so that we can just share this, because I think a lot of people wonder.
Yep.
I think there is a little bit of a misnomer, a misthought. I don't know what the term is. I think that there is an idea that we work when we want to, and we don't work very much, and we really make bank. And
you mean you don't work when you just want to? I mean, I just want to work all the time.
Did I
Nights,
make it
holidays,
today before
weekends.
8:17?
Yeah, I love working on holidays and weekends, nights and holidays.
So I want to make sure that we
Sleep
kind of
until
touch on
5:30.
some of those things, because we don't really golf all day.
Mm-mm.
We don't really golf all day and make all the money. Like, that's not really what we do.
No.
And then I think sometimes too, as a seller, and you see your settlement statement and you see how much you might have just paid your real estate associate, and I think you kind of panic like, oh my gosh, did they really earn that? And let me just tell you, yes, they did. But also, I want to kind of maybe even talk about some of how those fees get played out. Is that okay? Can we do that?
Yes.
I didn't ask your permission first, and I apologize. Okay, so first, how do you become a real estate associate in Oklahoma? You have to meet eligibility requirements. Got to be 18 years old, have a high school diploma or the equivalent.
I had somebody talk to me about it. She just turned 18.
Right.
And she is stoked about getting a real estate license.
But she can't yet.
She's 18.
High school diploma or equivalent.
Oh.
Yeah, she got to finish school first.
Okay.
Which reminds me of one
I'm
of our
glad you said
recent
that,
agents.
because I thought,
yeah,
you're 18. You can get your license.
well, and I might double check that because I didn't. I just kind of. I mean, let's be real. I chat GPT'd.
I think you do have to have a license, a high school diploma.
I think so. I mean, because there is some education involved in this.
Right.
But from there, then you would take real estate courses,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. So you took yours at the VOTEC,
Yep.
whatever it was back then. That's not the name of it today.
20-some years ago.
So pay attention. Locally, sometimes you'll be able to catch a real estate course here in Woodward.
Right.
There's so many right now taking them online.
Bunch.
So many take them online, and we have a couple. I have to go back in my messages all the time. But Richard just finished his license. He took it online. Kyra just took hers online.
Yep. When Jared was here, he took his on a.
His was so cool.
His was a combined, so he had some online, and then he went to Oklahoma City and sat in class. And the in-class stuff, to me, is very beneficial because you could get off task and get into the real meat of the real estate license.
Right.
Because usually it's like they train you to pass the test
Mm-hmm.
and not about selling real estate.
We probably want to get to that, but just in case we don't, what Brian is saying is whenever you're taking a real estate course, you're learning all the rules and regulations. You're not learning how to sell houses.
Mm-mm.
You're not learning how to take care of sellers. You're not learning how to take care of buyers. You're just learning what not to do so that you don't lose your license.
Right.
Like literally, that's all it is. Okay. All right. So there's pre-licensing education, 90 hours of coursework. I have no idea what that costs anymore. No idea.
About $600.
Okay, there you go. $600. Pass the state exam. So I remember back in our day, we had to go in and sit down and take it by hand, right? I mean, I think I had like the little, what's that little thing where you fill in your little dot?
I didn't have a computer.
You did? Did I have a computer? I really think I
did,
filled in
'cause I thought
dots.
I
They
broke
ran it
it.
through the Scantron or whatever.
No,
You
because I
you
thought I broke it because I was like, click, 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 click. And then all of a sudden it went off. And I was like, oh my gosh, ma'am, I messed up the computer. She goes, no, you passed the number of questions I didn't have to finish the test. Because
Really?
I passed the number of questions it took to pass the test before I finished the test
Where did you take it?
at the Real Estate Commission office.
They changed it between when you did yours and I did mine because I had to take that whole stinking test. So I always panic. I test pretty fast, whether it's good or not. That's to
me
be
too.
seen. But then I'm the first one leaving the room, and I always panic. Did I forget a page?
Yeah.
And my computer did not just shut off. I had to answer every question.
I don't know. Both of mine were that
Gosh.
way. My broker test was that way.
Yeah, no, my broker test went that way either. Anyway, okay, pass the state exam. Now you can take it anywhere because,
Any
well,
testing
I say
center.
anywhere, any testing center. So you can take it here in Woodward so much simpler than it used to be.
Yep.
You literally don't have to leave Woodward to do all of this anymore.
Nope.
It's amazing. So amazing. All right, you do have to be fingerprinted and pass a background check. So there are some, I don't even remember, I don't know, you're the broker. Like, if you've had what kind of legal situation can you not get your license? DUIs are a big deal.
DUI is a big deal. I mean, I had a lady who was 18 years old and went to prison, went to jail for a very short time for some type of a thing. And when she was 40-something, 20-some years of good behavior,
Sure.
she got a real estate license. Well, she went to get it. Well, this was still considered a felony from 25 years
wow.
prior.
Yes.
Wouldn't let her go.
Is that right?
So we went to real estate commission. There's 6 people there. We all vouched for her,
right.
got her license.
So there's some things that could be workaround. Other things probably not.
Probably not.
So
Anything
you'd
to
wanna
do
read.
with theft or stuff like that, burglary, any of that stuff, they're going to nope.
Once you pass your exam and you have your real estate license, you have to have a broker to put your license under. So at this point, I think it's good to interview brokers.
Yes.
I think, I don't know how to say this because I'm not the broker, first and foremost. I don't make the decisions. I'm not in charge. I think you want to make sure that you're going to be a good fit wherever you land.
Wherever you land. And I believe that because I've been, I just don't work well for people as bosses. Maybe that's it. But there's just people that work well together and there's people
Right.
that don't. And it's not going to hurt my feelings that you work for somebody else, I don't think it hurts Kitten or Kenny or Laura. I don't think it hurts their feelings if you don't work for them because we
Right.
all know the personalities that if you're a real estate guy, you better be able to work with just about everybody.
Well, here's
But-
the thing. Just because you don't find an office might be a great fit for you, you still might be an excellent cooperating agent.
Yes.
Like Woodward has such great realtors. Across the board, we have such great realtors.
Yes.
And even last night, I was texting with another agent. We're working on a counteroffer offer. Oh my gosh, it just goes on and on and on. And I'd asked a question about some contract forms, and we had a discussion about the forms. And I was like, this is so nice. There was no negativity. It was just, here, let's learn from one another, make sure that we do this properly, make sure that we do the best thing for buyers and sellers so that there's no miscommunication and so that we don't have ugly situations come up later.
Yeah.
That's stinking awesome. We have such great realtors in Woodward. So just because you don't fit in an office, it's no hard feelings. You just might be more comfortable with a different group of people. I had a business professional, different companies say, what we want for our company is to be able to hang out after work. That's perfect for people who hang out after work.
Right.
For people like me that want to go home and hang out with the fam or do stuff with my husband, I may not fit as well in that environment as somebody else would. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I think that's
it's not that I'm antisocial or don't love the people I work with. I just really also want to have plenty of time for my fam.
and that's
So
right. And I get to I get into seasons where, man, I like to work. That's part of my problem.
you do.
And so sometimes my wife has to call me and say, hey, just making sure you're still alive.
Sometimes your helper calls and says, hey, will you do some work?
Yes, that's true too.
All right. So you have to find a sponsoring broker. You have to have somebody to hang your license underneath. Apply for your real estate license. I really feel like I just did that backward, but I don't really know. Ideally, I mean, the whole point is that, you have to get your license and you have to hang it under somebody.
Right.
Then you have post-licensing education. Not a big deal. 45 hours. You have a whole year to do it. I think Richard is like the coolest example of this because most of us wait until the month of, me. What day is it? October 8th or something? October 6th? I have no idea.
Have you finished your
I have not finished my continuing ed. You have to have 21
So if you're
hours.
looking for a job, anybody out there? Kendra might not have a license in a couple weeks.
21 hours of continuing education once you're past your post-licensing. And so there's always continuing ed, which I think is valuable.
Yes.
So actually, I was taking one of the courses, but when I was reading through the test, I was like, man, I can't decide if I just don't like the way that particular question is written or if I need to do more homework on it. Like, it's literally, I won't turn in that test because I'm still thinking about that question. So it's good for us to have the continuing education, and I love it. I think that takes us to a higher level. Once you start your real estate career, this is where your brokerage really comes in. Some brokerages are more hands-off, like get in there, get her done. They want to make sure your documents are right. They want to make sure that you're abiding by the real estate code and rules, but maybe they're not quite so hands-on in taking you to different showings and helping to make sure that how you communicate with buyers and sellers and all that kind of stuff. So again, that's part of whenever you are interviewing your broker. Make sure that you fit and make sure you're getting what you need. Like you and I were kind of thrown to the wolves.
Oof.
Like I remember, I didn't watch you start. You were already in the business a few years when I started. But in my office, we've said this a lot because in our current office we have we're very multi-generational in this office.
Yes.
And one of the older generations has said, "Yeah, but you grew up with computers." And I'm like, "No, I did not." Like, I will never forget my first office going in, and it was an Apple computer. I've never even seen an Apple computer. And she said, "Here, write this contract." And I said, "How do I turn on the computer?" Like, literally knew nothing.
When we moved here, I threw my typewriter away because I started without a computer or a cell phone.
Did you just move to a word processor?
In this decade, yeah. I mean, this century, not decade. Yeah.
So what I'm saying here is, there's just different ways that things happen. So I really, I had one day of training and then the girl was gone. And then I just had to learn how to read documents and I had to learn how to file, do my files and make them look all nice and neat. And I wasn't even an agent yet. I was just a secretary or whatever, an office, what was I? Property manager. But I also plunged the toilets. I mean, I just did everything. I learned so much in that. When I moved to Woodward, started sales full time, there was another man in the office, and he could see I was kind of like starting to fail a little bit. And he said, "I think that you've got some talent. Let's work together." And it made a huge difference just in collaborating. Like, he would teach me things, but I would teach him things too. Like, we both got our licenses pretty quickly, actually. I think at the same time, but different communities, so we didn't really know. It helped me so much. And from there, it just gave me a springboard to what was next. I really think I wouldn't know what I know today had I not gone through some of the hardships that I had back then.
It's the 5 hours you spend in the kitchen mastering your famous recipe or spending quality time with your family. Other insurance companies may just see it as a house. It's not just a house, it's your home. Hi, I'm State Farm Agent Kevin Kanzler, and I see your home as the time and memories you put into them. I understand what your things really mean to you, and I'm here to help give them the protection they deserve. My office is located on the corner of 13th and Oklahoma in Woodward, or call me at 580-256-2216 for your home insurance today.
OnPoint Land Survey can take care of all your residential, commercial, and industrial survey needs. This family-owned and operated business proudly serves Northwest Oklahoma. These lifelong Northwest Oklahoma residents with over 22 years of experience are ready to serve you with the latest equipment and capable trucks to get your job done. Call OnPoint Land Survey today at 580-256-6757 or stop by 1918 Main Street in Woodward, Oklahoma, or visit their website at onpointlandsurveyok.com. Professional, trusted, local.
Yeah, I agree. I had to do, my broker when I started had some health issues. Then her mom had some health issues, and then her husband had some health issues for the first 2 years of my real estate career.
You're on your own.
I was on my own.
Yeah.
And it was, luckily I had Liz, and she kept correcting me.
Yes. I miss Liz.
And
I need her for that question on my test.
Yes. And so it was I felt like I read the contract all the time.
Right.
And I think that helped a bunch. I do think we, with all these crazy systems and fast contract typing and digital zip forms and all kinds of, I think it limits our capacity to know what the contract says. I think some agents just move so quick. I catch myself every now and then like, I will do it. Hey, what does that say again? What?
Go back to the contract.
Go back to the contract. So we was in a deal just this week, and I thought, I can't remember where that's at in the contract. Like it wasn't even in the contract.
So that happened this week. Another agent, she's with a different office, Ashley. I was so proud of her. She said, hey, there was a situation brought up at our realtor meeting, and she said, doesn't that say on this one line, blah, 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 300,000, da, 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 da. And we all just kind of looked at her, and she goes, I can't believe none of you know. And I thought, I can't either, because I read that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I could not place it. I had to go back and look, and I went, hot dang, she was absolutely right. So we need to be back into our education.
Yes.
So I think one of the cons of being a real estate realtor, being a real estate agent, is that you get so doggone busy that you have to really stop, slow down, go back and say, I need to spend some time on this. So moving on. Start your real estate career, continuing education, join professional associations. I just really fast want to hit on that. So out here, we are a member of the Northwest Oklahoma Association of Realtors. That's two different things. There's like two things that come underneath that umbrella that we're involved in. We're part of the multiple listing service, which means that we collaborate and we cooperate with all the different agencies in town. That being said, somebody calls from Elk City. We sold one recently. And the guy calls from Clinton or Elk City or somewhere, and he says, hey, I've got buyers, want to look at this house. We said, absolutely. We cooperated, even though he's not part of our system, because we want what's best for our sellers. So that's what we do. The mothership of this multiple listing system is the association. So underneath, there's National Realtor Association, National Association of Realtors, actually, Oklahoma Association of Realtors, Northwest Oklahoma Association of Realtors. So we have dues. So here's the part that I think is kind of a surprise to some of our new agents, is that so your test was 600, your real estate licensing course was 600, and then maybe you pay, I don't know, 150, 200 to do your test and get your license. Am I close?
Yep,
Is it
and
more
then
than
like
that?
$50 to do your background check and all the
Okay.
yeah.
So you got a little expense. Right now, like we're maybe at $1,000. It's
Right.
not a big deal yet, but then you start, and you've got another like $1,700 to $1,900 to join an association. And so there are some fees to get you started. I think that surprises people, and it can be a little bit of a challenge. Like in the whole scheme of things, to start a business, that's really not a lot of money.
Yeah, you just started a business with unlimited up-end potential for less than $3,000.
That being said, it's close to it's $2,000-$3,000.
Yeah.
And so you do need to be prepared for that. Just
Right.
recognize there's going to be expenses. Find a way to have that money available to you. All right. So pros and cons. Do you want to do cons first or pros?
Well, I don't want to be negative. So-
Okay. Well, let's just get the negative out of the way then.
Yep.
Okay. So, and a lot of times actually they kind of go hand in hand anyway. So we're going to start with the negative and we'll end with the positive. All right. Income uncertainty. One of the things that I remember before I started working with you is you said, what's your goal? And I was like, I don't have a goal, because I still struggle to wrap my mind around processing how much I'm going to sell when I have no idea what's going to happen in our market. Gary Whitcomb in our office tells stories of the 80s when he wakes up one morning and like everybody just jetted out of town. Nobody was buying houses anymore. Like everything just dropped. Like it went
250 houses on the market.
like talk about a bust. Oh my
He
gosh.
said people would just drive by. They'd drive by and leave a note on the door. Here's my address. Keys are in the bell box. Here's the mortgage company, and just leave town.
Absolutely crazy. So having Gary tell me this, and then you say, what's your goal? And I'm like, I'm not making a goal. I know what Gary said about 1981. So legit, it affected me, and I had a really hard time being prepared for that. So levels, your income is uncertain. There are going to be months that you make bank. There's going to be months you make nothing.
Right.
And that's
even
for
me,
real. Even you.
and us, number one for years and years and years and years and years, we've still gone 30 days without a paycheck.
Right.
I mean,
The beginning of
but
thanks. The beginning of 2020, our first closing was in February.
February 20th.
We didn't
2020.
have anything all the way through January and almost the whole month of February. So the flip side of that is 2020, by the end of the year, we had our best year ever. And I
insane.
don't know what the money was, because that's not really, Brian just alluded I'm on salary. So it's not quite, I know what my money was. But I mean, we sold higher than we've ever sold.
It was so crazy.
It was
150
crazy.
people, transactions.
Yes, insane.
Unreal.
So you've got this unlimited potential, but you also have like a really low potential.
Yep.
I really think the more you work, the better you do, but that's not always a perfect statement. So
It really
all
comes back to how many connections can you make?
yes, here, small market real estate, you got to know the people. All right, initial expenses. We talked about that, so we're not even going to go there. I think compensation, we already hit that. Irregular hours. I think this is the part that is a challenge for us.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
We might work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, but we might also at the same time be working. Last night, I was still working until 9 o'clock. Remember, we just said I was salaried, so I'm 8 to 5, but I'm still working at 9 p.m. I also worked this weekend. I'll probably also do a little work this coming weekend. And that's okay. Last week, I'm not sure I took a lunch, but twice maybe. So don't think I'm going to just have all this free time.
Right.
That being said,
There's pockets of freedom.
there's pockets of freedom. And what I found back in the day, and I've told the story a million times because we competed before we started working together, and we would both show up at the same time. Our kids are the same age, and like we would be the last people into the auditorium, and I'd be like, "Hey, what are you doing? Working on this? Me too." One time we realized that we had a closing in 2 hours, and we hadn't got the termite inspection while we're sitting in the assembly watching our girls get their awards. So you have pockets where you get to have some flexibility and do some things. Just don't forget that that's not, you're going to work more than you're not going to work.
Right.
Richard and I talked this week that we make this joke about you leave your 40-hour job so that you can have flexibility and then you work more hours in real estate. And he said, that's true. He said, I work way more hours than I did when I had a corporate job, but I love what I do and I don't mind now. So that's the positive. If you love what you do, the time doesn't seem to matter as much. Emotional toll. This is a negative I think is super important, and we don't have a lot of time. This is a very highly emotional job. It's got a lot of stress. We're dealing with people's most important purchase or sale, and sometimes involved in that are their own really difficult emotions. We closed one a couple of weeks ago. You were gone, and that it was very emotional. They did not want to leave the house. The seller had been there for like 30 years. They didn't have any furniture in the house. They had already agreed that the buyer, and this is not normal, please don't think this is normal, they'd allowed the buyer could have their moving company come in at noon, and they literally said, no, we don't close until 3. And the daughter, we're talking an adult daughter, had some tears, and she said, I'm not ready to leave yet. And thankfully, they were able to kind of work around so they would leave by noon. They stayed in that empty house with no chairs until noon because it's emotional to sell our homes. So we take that on too. Like I've said a million times, let me cry for you. So this is an emotionally challenging job. You've got a lot of people coming at you all at once. The flip side of that is I stinking love getting to be the one to take that stress because I want them to leave knowing that we saw how much they love their home. So that's the positive. Like we get to help people. I love it.
It is great.
It is so neat. The other people were buying so they could be close to their parents and kids can run across the street. And I see all these Facebook posts where the little guy is like, Grandma, Grandma. And I think I got to be a part of that. Yeah. That's the positive.
It's so good.
Man, I love it.
It is the people business. So
negative taxes. That hit me hard. I didn't understand. Get an accountant when you start your game.
Yep.
We're out
We're out of time. So Brian and Kindra Show. If you want to talk about being a realtor, call us 580-334-2303.
580-216-0090. And we'll see you next time.